Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Brandon Shank, and welcome to the Brandon Shank Podcast. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the first podcast of 2024 here at the Brandon Shank Podcast. 2024, it's going to be best year yet. Say no more. So pumped about it. I mean, coming into 2024, had an exciting end of 2023.
Oh yeah!
Just before I started this, I got off the phone. Somebody was telling me that the whole eggnog thing kind of offended them at first, and then we realized that we liked it. They're like they were so happy for us, and so I drank eggnog over the holidays.
Yeah,
you?
I actually didn't over the holidays.
That's not true. You were at my house for a party.
I don't think I had any.
Oh,
though.
You didn't?
No, I didn't have any that day. Listen, it was delicious. That little cup was enough. It was enough.
I had multiple eggnogs over the holidays.
You sent pictures on Christmas Day.
No alcohol in it, but if there was, I wouldn't have remembered the holidays. Put it that way.
That's true. That's very. So you had that much?
No, I probably had 5 or 6 glasses.
Because what a lot of people that, if they only listen to the podcast, I haven't talked to you about it in person. What they don't know is you were sitting in that bunny costume, baking from
degrees.
The sun behind you.
Drinking thick cake batter on an empty stomach.
And when we stopped recording, you were like, I think I could throw up.
Yeah. During the recording, I was like, this is going viral because I may throw up in a bunny suit.
Yeah.
After the eggnog moment.
That would have been the best.
I had people hit me up throughout the holidays saying, I just watched the eggnog. You chug eggnog in a bunny costume. One thing I've learned about people who do drink eggnog that automatically recognize something we did was we chugged it. Like you sip it, right? And we didn't know. We just threw it back.
They were like, you don't do that. You slowly sip it.
So funny, man.
Yeah, we learned.
It was a good time.
Yeah.
It was a great time. I'll tell you something that got me right in the feelers. On Christmas Eve, I was driving to go pick up some Chinese food. Who doesn't eat Chinese at 9:30 on Christmas Eve? We got home late. There was a lot going on. And there was a family that had all of their cars in a circle, pitch dark, putting up a trampoline.
No.
I was like, is that not the cutest thing?
That's the best.
Yeah. Those little suckers are in the bed sleep waiting for Santa. And Santa was outside putting the trampoline together.
That's the greatest.
Yeah. Man, I love people.
So good.
I just love people. I love you guys.
Yeah.
I love you. I want you to know in 2024, I love you. And
that's good.
Bigger than that, Jesus loves you. I mean, if that doesn't get you going,
and that's why we love Christmas. It just brings out the best.
Brings out.
And sometimes the worst, but the best.
Yeah. And so, we took a break here at the podcast and had a little bit of a chill time. I had a cold. I mean, my oldest son, I got the flu. It wasn't like a down and out one dayer. It was like something that just lingers forever. Yeah. Still getting over it. But we did see a movie over the holidays with my little guys. My older guys went to Busch Gardens for the day with some friends.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, we went and saw Migration.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
we were supposed to go with you on Wednesday. Did you guys go?
Oh, yeah, to see Aquaman.
Yeah, how was it?
We saw it. It was good. It was good.
Yeah, we're going to see that, but Moldus was sick, and then Rylan was like, I'm not really a Marvel fan. It's like,
well, it's not Marvel. So
what was it?
DC. Yeah.
Oh, DC. He said Marvel.
Man, it's not Marvel. It's Disney. So.
See, I don't know the difference. That ain't my world.
I know it's not.
But I thought it. I mean, I was like, Casey's like, you're gonna go watch that with the boys? Like, yeah. She's like, that's like true love because you don't like those things. She's like, you won't even go see one of those with me. I was like, yeah, but I'll go see it with him.
Yeah. Hey, I meant to tell you. This doesn't really change the subject because it's movie related. I meant to tell you yesterday. I totally forgot. So not last night, but the night before, my wife and I were like, oh, you want to watch a movie? Yeah, let's watch a movie. And we watched Lone Survivor.
Oh,
she's never seen it. She thought she saw it, but I don't think she's really seen it. I mean, I love that movie. It's so good. But she watched it and like she was engaged the whole time. That scene where they're like falling down the hill and like she was like, oh, ow, blah, blah. Yeah.
That's hard to watch. That's hard to watch for me.
It's
and I don't
intense.
mind movies like that. Just because you're just thinking about the bones breaking.
Oh, it's
what'd she think?
Brutal. She loved it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's a great movie.
Yeah, movies that are like based off of real stories, she loves.
It's a great and Mark Wahlberg, I mean, he's just
that
great.
whole cast.
Yeah,
the whole cast is really good.
They really are. Yeah, it's a great movie. I love that movie. One of my favorites.
It's on Netflix.
Yeah.
You can watch it.
Are you the guy? So I want to tell everybody if you want to have a great movie experience, you need to go to movies with me. I'll tell you why. Everybody needs that guy at the end of the movie that claps.
You a clapper?
I'm a clapper.
Hey, I'm all about it.
Even if I don't like the movie.
Oh, I don't do that.
Just at the end of the movie when the credits roll, it's just a.
Yeah. I clap when it's good.
And then Casey's always like, stop.
Yeah.
Stop. And you hear the popcorn the popcorn's falling on the ground. Everybody's trying to clap. They want to show their respect. I'm the clapper guy. There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. Are you the clapper guy when the plane lands? Are you that guy?
I don't know. if the moment's feel, if it hits right.
You're like, good job, pilot.
Yeah.
Good job. There's always there's always that one guy on the plane that claps when the plane lands.
It is true. I am that guy. I am that guy.
Yeah. Like, I've never flown on a plane with you, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But I could see you being that guy.
Yeah, it's fun. It's anything to get the people engaged.
Yeah, you're encouraging people, man.
Yeah, it makes people laugh.
Yeah.
That's why I like it when people have a good time. And then other people might get annoyed, and I would say, you need to just relax. Like, enjoy life.
Yeah.
You're on this plane with us. You're not getting off.
Yeah.
Laugh.
Laugh.
You know? Just laugh. So, yeah, when we make a good landing, or even if it's a rough landing, so if it's a good landing and you give the clap, that's like, this is respect.
Yeah.
But it's usually like this.
Yeah.
You know, like not the obnoxious clap, but loud enough to be like, "Come on, y'all, let's get up for this pilot." It's a good land, like almost like you don't even feel it. That's like let's show some respect.
Oh yeah.
If it's a regular land, it's just like, "Hey, once again, we made it. None of us died on the way. Like this, we should celebrate this."
You flew in the air
and landed
for multiple hours,
and somebody got us safely on the ground.
Yeah,
we expect it. But we should appreciate it.
That's why I do love flying, because there's something just majestic about we do this.
Every time you take off, there's no guarantee you're coming home.
That's true. It's true. But it's also safer than driving in your car.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, we can make it sound heroic. We understand it's just you're just flying. But and then the third one is whenever you're coming in, particularly in Atlanta, because that airport, for whatever reason, there's a lot of crosswinds, and you always touch down one of the landing gears, and then it skips, and you hit another one, and then it skips and you hit another one. It's one of those where you're not sure. Yeah, but it's not sure. You're wobbling, and you may do a cartwheel, whatever it is. You land on all threes.
Yeah,
and you're all glad, and you can't believe you made it. That's that clap as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Of like, you know what? That pilot, you say, A, the pilot saved our life, or B, he has no idea what he's doing. Either way, we're here.
Yes.
So those are the claps, you know? One's the expected, thanks for getting us here. The other one, not sure if you're bad as a pilot or just really good, but you made it. And then the other one is, I didn't even notice the landing.
Yeah. Hey, did you know that
all deserve good claps?
Did you know that, I don't know if this is all airlines or plane, they have like trading cards. If you ask the pilot when you're getting on or off the plane, you can ask them for like a trading card, and they'll give you like the kind of airplane you're flying. They have little cards. I was like, this is amazing.
What?
I didn't know this.
For kids?
No, like I saw a video of an adult asking for one. He just collects these trading cards. I don't like Pokemon cards for airplanes. They're cool. It's like foil and everything.
Really?
Yeah.
And they give them to anybody.
If they have them, yeah. The one guy was like, the pilot was really like, I literally just ran out, but I'm pretty sure one of our like attendants has one.
Meaning
and they
people have asked so many times that I've ran out.
Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly.
Well, guess what I'm doing next time?
I'm going to ask for a trading card.
You better.
Yeah. That's when they're like, oh, we don't do this on Spirit Airlines.
Yeah. How much you pay for your tickets, sir? Yeah.
We don't have trading cards.
Yeah.
We'll be lucky if we get there.
Well, one good thing about this time of year is it's bowl season.
Oh yeah,
you know the ball has been bowling. Now I will say that
there's a lot of them.
There is.
I didn't even realize,
and most of them, half the team's not playing because of they've opted out.
Mm-hmm.
But little things like UNLV, the Kansas, there was a shoving match during that game. Eastern Michigan, South Alabama, one of the players comes up and sucker punched the other player during their school fight song at the end of the game.
Nice.
It was just like, this is not a good look, guys. Like these fist fights in college sports, like come on. Like I know that the intensity is high, but let's have some class here. And then, you know, the Memphis, that bowl game was decent because Memphis was playing, I think their whole team played. A lot of these bowls where the teams aren't packed with first-round picks, the bowls are better because they're not opting out of playing the game. But Kirby Smart, the coach for Georgia, said it best. You know, they beat Florida State, I think, 63-3. He said, I get it. The score's lopsided. Florida State had, I think, 9 starters and 20 players that weren't playing or something like that. And he said, but college football needs to determine what is it that you want. Like next year there's a 12-team playoff, but what is it that you want? These kids aren't going to play unless there's a purpose.
Yeah.
Just for money in a bowl, like what's the purpose? It might be a bowl against Georgia. They didn't care. I mean, Florida State got demolished. I love that Georgia came out and still played well. But, you know, you can't, Coach Norvell, what do you expect him to do when all of his players are opting out? And you might think, well, it's a culture. You got to build that. Whatever it may be, the NIL is destroying college football. You know, what happened was players were finding ways to make money, and the NCAA was taking all the money. So whenever the NCAA really found out what was going on, they knew they were going to have to suspend every living head coach and most of the players, and they would have no NCAA left. So they said, well, let's just make it legal. Let's let the NIL kick in and let everybody get paid because they were constantly suspending coaches, college basketball. I mean, all of them. Like even the biggest names were always in hot water about recruiting violations or about money being spent. It was happening all over, more than they wanted to admit. And so their idea was, well, let's just let the NIL, let the players have a name, image, likeness, and they make money. Now, I think it's fine that a player, because college football has made so much money and there's such a monster industry, I don't have a problem with there being a way for these players to make money. However, I just don't understand why they couldn't give a kid a full ride and $100,000 a year. And you're thinking, well, because the third offensive lineman isn't getting $100,000 a year. I get that, but now you have quarterbacks making $2 and $3 million more than their head coaches.
Jeez,
as 18-year-olds.
Crazy.
So the system doesn't work. It doesn't work. You're going to lose a lot of good college coaches. They're going to go coach pro because they're thinking, well, I did this for the young men. Now, these kids are the ones calling the shots. They come in and say, well, you're not going to start me? Well, I'm going to the transfer portal.
Yeah.
Period. So they're telling the coaches what they're going to do because they're the ones making the money. Like, the coach is going to have to give up. So if you got a quarterback that wants to play now, but you know next year he's going to be great, but you have a great senior or a great junior quarterback, and you say, well, I'm willing to lose this kid to the transfer portal, you got to go find yourself another quarterback. The kid wasn't willing to wait for 2 years.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And right now, to get a quarterback out of the transfer portal, it costs you $1 million. A good quarterback. You know, like it's turned into a minor league for the NFL, and my proof is in the bowl season. All these guys aren't playing. Why? Because they don't care about their teams.
Yeah.
And do I think they're wrong for it? Well, I don't think it's right. It's not that they don't care about their team. That's not the right thing to say. I think they are doing what's necessary to protect their own. And they have insurance on them if they get hurt, but they're thinking, well, if I get hurt, I could drop 3 or 4 rounds, lose millions of dollars, even though I get insurance on my body. So, I mean, these kids are, and the thing is, you get in the NFL, they play 1 year, they're on a practice squad, and they get cut, and then what's the point? So, anyway, I hate that the answer is the NIL. I wish there was a better way to do it. I think there is, but I think that, you know, if every kid that signed a college contract or got a full ride, and then the problem was these kids, these campuses were building these, you know, $100 million additions on their stadiums and these new practice facilities, and these kids weren't even being able to get fed every night. They were hungry at 9 at night. They didn't have any more meal plan money. They had no regular money unless their parents had money because they couldn't get money. So I get the frustration and the tension.
Yeah.
Well, why not give every kid that signs a college contract a full ride and then $100,000 a year? And you're thinking, well, that's a little ridiculous. The millions of dollars that are going to the NIL, they could afford to do that.
Yeah.
If I'm a kid and I'm a college athlete and I'm saying I get a full ride to this school and I'm getting paid $100,000 a year, and you might say, well, yeah, there's kids like Shedeur Sanders making $3 to $4 million a year, and he's a quarterback. He's not going to want just $100,000 a year. So,
well, that's the system.
That's the system.
That's how it works.
Get into the pros and make your millions.
Yeah.
But you can't have a sponsorship outside of college football. You're getting paid $100,000 a year, and you're getting an education. It's $250,000. You play for 4 years. You made $650,000 with everything. I'm not saying that you couldn't make more on NIL. They're proving they can because their money in the industry just wants to make money off of them.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that it's ruining college sports, particularly the big ones.
Yeah.
Because when's it going to stop?
Yeah.
It will not. And so this isn't the answer. It's not the answer. But I'm just wondering when it's going to hit its tension point and when it's going to all fall apart. It's not going to be long. I'll tell you that. It's not going to be long because these coaches are going to quit. I'm telling you now, these coaches don't want to mess with this. These coaches are not in favor of it. And even the ones that have all the money. It's just you're paying players now. You're not recruiting them and guaranteeing them a good education, how they're going to grow as young men and be coached, and they're going to blah, 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 blah. It don't matter how much money. They want to know, what kind of money am I getting in the NIL?
Yeah.
That's the number one question, these big players. And honestly, I understand.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm going somewhere to play ball, I may not go where I want. If I'm going to go somewhere else and make an extra $1 million, who guarantees me I'm getting out of there to play in the pros? This might be the only chance to get money.
Yeah.
So now that opportunity to make money has gone from the age of 20 or 21 to 18, 17. You know, so it's the bowl season has been a perfect indicator of how the NIL is destroying it because nobody wants to play unless the game matters. And honestly, I will say this. It is coming a time. There is coming a time that I believe if a prospect is projected to go in the first round, the top couple of picks, and they're going to be maybe an astronomical signing bonus to that particular player, maybe there's coming a day where they may opt out of a playoff game.
Wow, yeah.
They're saying, yeah, so what if I win the college playoff? Then what?
Yeah.
I go to the draft. So once they know they have it, there will be players, mark my words, down the road, it will happen, where a player knows he is going to make a ridiculous amount of money for a signing bonus, that even winning the college playoff is not going to be worth it to him.
Yeah.
Because the ultimate goal is no longer a championship in college football, it's money.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Because I remember when Christian McCaffrey opted out years ago and he played for Stanford, and people were so hard on him. He opted out of his bowl game with Stanford, and they couldn't believe he did it. Now everybody does it. They couldn't believe what a poor sport and a bad teammate. Yeah. Christian McCaffrey, they knew he was coming out going to make a ton of money. And had he gotten hurt in that game or torn ACL, who knows how different his career could have been.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think players are going to think this way whenever they go into I'm all about the team, this and that? Well, if you're a running back, you're all about the team, and you're going to get drafted really high. Maybe there's a part where you're like, I don't know, coach. I'm already going to be projected to go high. I don't want to take 2 more games off my body. And what if I tear it? Because what's going to happen is, like Willis McGahee years ago in the championship, tore his ACL. He ended up having a great NFL career, but in championship of college, had a nasty leg injury.
Yeah.
What's going to happen with a running back in a college football playoff, or a quarterback or a tight end, where they're going to have a nasty injury that's going to be gruesome, and these other kids are going to be like, I'm not doing that. Mm-hmm. The minute I know I'm done. I'm not doing the bowl season, period. The bowl season will be lumped into one thing.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
It's crazy.
It's going to happen. At some point, kids are going to start opting out of playoff games.
Yeah.
Not because they don't have integrity, but because at the end of the day, college football has been made about the player, not the team. Yeah. And that's not football.
Mm-hmm.
And then they wonder why when they get to the NFL, they have so many problems. It's like because they've never played it. They don't have to be a team.
Yeah.
There are some that are teams, don't get me wrong, but I'm saying they're taking that away. When you start incentivizing kids based on money, you're in trouble, man. So I hate it. I hate what it's becoming. But we'll see. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
And if you missed the Lions and Cowboys game, the refs missed a blown 2-point conversion call.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. I was watching that game live, and I was thinking they had better get this one right. And then, and sure, you could say coaches made bad calls, players made bad plays. I get it. And then it came out the next day that the refs missed a call. They gave it to the Cowboys. It was supposed to be against the Lions. That if they had made that call, then they would never have been in a position with a 2-point conversion. I'm like, hold up. So now you're saying that 2-point conversion, you're shooting so low that you're saying you're blaming the refs for missing another call, calling on the Cowboys when it should have been on the Lions, that would never even happen, a 2-point call. So you're just making this worse.
Yeah.
Now you're saying the refs missed another call, and people were saying, well, and I was like, that sounds like the NFL's covering for one team, in my opinion.
Yeah.
When you're going back and saying, well, if the refs made this call, the NFL has everybody's back until somebody's in the limelight, and then they push everybody in the back. Like, if I am the NFL, you get fined for saying anything. You mention the name Goodell, you're fined. I've never seen an organization built like this, where it is so just bitey. Yeah. The NFL, I could not imagine being that organization. You can't say a thing about the organization or the officials. You're thinking, well, that's the integrity of the game, protect it, this and this. It's not the integrity of the game. Because when you have officials that are doing wrong and they're not being held accountable, so this officiating crew isn't allowed to do the playoffs now, what about fines?
Yeah.
Well, they're all part-time, this and this. I don't care. If the NFL has $1 billion industry and you have players making this kind of money, and all of these people took time off to be there, and all of these, and they're broadcasting it, and all of the people it takes to make this work. And you're telling me officials make a bad call? It shouldn't be. I'm not talking about a bad call. I'm talking about a blatant call.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
come on, man.
I didn't see the actual game.
Like,
but
you can't mess up like that. You're at that level. You can do that at high school. You can do that in college. You can't do that when you get to the NFL.
Yeah.
You can't. You don't get the freedom. The reason you're officiating at that level is because of a requirement. Now, I know everybody's human. I get it. So I'm not even throwing it on this particular official.
Yeah.
I'm throwing it more on the NFL of, like, there are so many years where the officials aren't held accountable and the players are. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Players get held accountable for saying a word about an official, for saying if the players comment on the color of an official's hat, they get fined. But the officials, there is so little that happens to them.
Yeah.
You know, there's no accountability for Roger Goodell, and he makes a bad decision. The owners don't do anything to him.
Yeah.
And so it's such a lopsided, old school. It's just a very lopsided organization. Like, I don't know how. The only reason the NFL has made it this far is not because of leadership. It's because of money. Because their owners have been entangled in as much conspiracy and bad things. Even recently, the owners for the Panthers threw a drink on somebody. Like, come on, bro. Like, come on. You know what I mean?
Oh, man.
It's just unbelievable. So, yeah, it's just the whole. I'm amazed that Roger Goodell has the role that he has because I don't know what he does. I know that if you say anything against that man, they'll fine you a ridiculous amount, make you miss games. I mean, the NFL is such a heavy-handed. It amazes me that it's an organization that exists. The only reason is because there's such a demand for the product.
Yeah, that's.
And I don't know Roger Goodell. Maybe he's a great guy. But perception as a fan is that this dude, you say one thing about him, and he's going to throw down on you.
I just got an email that we got fined.
Oh,
so.
Great. Jeez. All right, people. We're going to need y'all to start donating. The lack of sponsors is
he
making
somehow
this hard.
heard. He watches this podcast.
I knew it. The minute I said NFL, the FBI got me. No, it's just... It was controversy, and I was like, "Why is this always controversial?" Dallas at home, the Jerry Dome, the biggest money making team in the NFL.
Yeah.
Constant controversy. I love what Jimmy Johnson said. He got inducted to the Ring of Honor in Dallas, and he said, "I want to thank all of our diehard Dallas fans and all of those diehards that hate us." He said, "You're what make football great," and I was like, "That's the classiest statement I've ever heard." He understands how much they're hated and probably why now that he's been out of coaching there for a long time. But it's just one of those things where. You know, it was hard to watch that game and not think that, I thought that Dallas looked better as a team, but I thought that game at the end, Detroit was going to win it.
Yeah, it's tough when that's the outcome of a game. It's one thing if the team itself doesn't make it or whatever, but when it's just a missed call or something like that, that's rough to see.
Yeah, and it wasn't just a missed call. It was
I mean,
he walked over to the
there was a
official.
nod and everything.
Yeah,
there was
come on,
everything.
He just walked over there to I think he just walked over there with his buddy because he didn't want to go alone. It's like, come on, man, let's get this straight. You know, you can't miss that. And before the games, the coaches go over on a blackboard with the referees any plays they have, so they knew it.
Yeah.
And the conspiracy theorists are out. You know how that
I'm
goes.
sure. Yeah.
Except for Dallas fans. They're blaming it on other calls. But all the rest of us that see reality.
Yeah.
As Buddy's listening to this, he's probably kicking his dashboard right now.
Yeah. I mean, he came dressed up in his full gear the other day. I mean, he was all about it.
I got to hand it to Buddy. He's consistent.
He is consistent.
He's a consistent fan, and he's a realist. He's a realist about his team. As much as anybody I've ever met, he's a realist. He's one of the Dallas fans that I can tolerate. Only because I love him.
Yeah.
So you asked for it.
Don't blame me. You asked for it.
Sorry to be hacking all over y'all today.
Oh, yeah.
Top-rated casual dining restaurants just came out, and I think you'll be surprised by the list.
Okay.
Do you want to tell me what you think the top number one casual dining restaurant is? If you get this, I will give everybody listening
Casual
a $5
dining.
gift card to Starbucks. Everybody listening.
Define more casual dining. Like what?
Chain restaurants. Just not fast food.
but not fast food.
Not fast
but
food.
Just like
number one.
It is kind of fast food, but right?
Yeah. No, it's just dining.
Like sit down, order.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Dining.
The number one casual.
Here's a free Starbucks for everybody listening.
Oh, goodness.
Every single person.
If I get this
if
right?
you get it right.
Bro.
Name it.
Don't put that weight on me. I'm sorry, people.
Corey.
I'm thinking.
If he gets it right.
Chili's.
Oh, you were so close.
Don't tell me.
You were so close.
Don't tell me it's the other one.
It's Cheesecake Factory.
It's Cheesecake. Oh, okay. All right. That's
Dude, you had the first two
impressive.
letters.
That's actually impressive that it's I'm sorry, everybody.
Chili's is number 8.
Oh, okay.
So
I was in the top 10 at least.
Yeah. If you would have got it.
I was thinking somewhere that was inexpensive that is kind of.
I was about to throw a Starbucks code up on Instagram
really
and let people scan the heck out of that thing. I'm glad we didn't have to.
I'm so sorry.
You just saved me a lot of money, people. A lot of money.
He was off to the side of the camera. Don't say.
I was thinking, I'm going to have to tell Case. I was just thinking we have a couple grand worth of Starbucks we're giving out.
Oh, man.
Listen.
Whoops.
So you want to guess?
That's impressive.
Number 1. So it was on a scale of 100. I think Cheesecake was in the 70s. AI did this look across all of the reviews and ratings for restaurants.
Oh, okay.
And this was number 1. Do you want to guess number 2? This one will surprise many people. It surprised me only because I feel like it's not. I just don't feel. I don't eat at a lot of chain restaurants. Meaning, I'm not bougie. I like Cheesecake's my favorite restaurant.
Yeah,
in my top 3 favorite restaurants ever.
Everything there,
but there's a lot of other restaurants I just don't eat at a lot.
Yeah,
I like restaurants that are. I mean, Virginia Beach has amazing restaurants. We have an amazing food world here.
So many,
and so there's a lot of restaurants that aren't chains. They're I don't even want to say mom and pop, but they're just fine dining or nice restaurants that are, beach restaurants, all kinds of amazing places that have fish tacos, shrimp tacos. There's amazing places to eat. Food trucks. There's just amazing dining experience here in this city. So that's a shout out. Really, the Tidewater's got great food.
Yeah.
The Tidewater in general has phenomenal food. Virginia Beach. So because we live in such an amazing place, I honestly don't eat at a lot of these places often because when I go out, there's these unique places you go to a different restaurant every day of the year here and not get all the ones in you want.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Oh,
I mean, they're amazing.
The list is insane.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So, number 2, what do you think?
You said it would surprise me.
Maybe. It surprised me just because I don't think the quality of the food's that great.
No. Ruby Tuesdays.
No. I don't think they even open anymore.
They are right over here, dude.
Really?
Yeah.
No,
that's why I thought it would be kind of surprising. No. Red Lobster.
It's called Booby Wednesdays. Booby Wednesdays. Wait, that wasn't appropriate.
I was just, that's all right. Whatever.
Ruby. I was thinking Ruby, Booby, Tubi, just adding a letter.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Ruby Tuesdays have a good salad bar.
Yeah. I don't eat salad. So.
Well, you wouldn't like it then. Olive Garden's number 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I just think Olive Garden is like warm up. Somebody told me a long time ago, it's like warm up Italian. And then you're like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but those breadsticks, though.
That's why. They say the millennials crush the breadsticks and salad.
Also, the Zuppa Toscana soup.
All right. Number 3, Outback Steakhouse.
Oh, I love Outback.
I do like Outback.
I love it.
Their cheese fries, you're not going to find them better.
Some of the best. I worked at Outback. It was one of my first jobs, too. So maybe that's where I earned a lot of well, my manager was awesome. So our Outback was really, really good. But in my opinion, some of the best steaks, how you order them, like just no fuss, good steaks.
Yeah. Number 4?
I don't know. I have no clue. Ponderosa.
On a date night with a burnt steak and an Oreo shake and a whipped cream.
Applebee's?
Yeah, there you go.
See, Applebee's was going to be my other first guess.
That's number 4. Number 5.
Man, I haven't been to Applebee's in forever.
Number 5, California Pizza Kitchen.
Oh, you know what? It's right down here. I've never been.
It's not bad.
I've never been.
Number 6, which is surprising to me, Buffalo Wild Wings.
I like Buffalo Wild Wings.
See, I just think their wings are small.
Listen, here's the thing.
There's so many great wing places here.
But listen,
that I will never go there.
Here's what I'm talking about. $12. $12. Lunch special. 10 wings, fries, and a drink. It's good.
For anybody that doesn't know Corey is the king of lunch specials. Not specials in general, but lunch specials.
Yeah, dude.
For instance, Buffalo Wild Wings, as you just heard.
Yeah.
Costco, tell them.
Not Costco's. We go to Sam's.
Sam's, that's what I meant.
Same thing, bro. I
grew up with Price Club. Sam's. Tell them the Sam deal.
Nathan's hot dog, the biggest hot dog you've ever seen in your life. $1.50 with a drink. I'd take my family to Sam's Club and we eat. Or I'm full. I'm good for like $8.
There you go. You get a 7-pound hot dog, a piece of pizza the size of your waist.
You can get
and a drink.
Yeah, you can get.
It's only probably about 7,000 calories too.
Yeah, that's true.
But if you're as big as Corey, that's only a quarter of your day's intake.
You get a ginormous hot dog, a ginormous slice of pizza, and each of those things come with a drink.
If you ate
2 ginormous drinks, and that's $4.
I bet a 2,000 calorie diet would kill you.
Yeah,
I don't think you could survive. I don't think you could physically survive.
In my lose weight app, I put in my size, my weight, all this kind of stuff. And to lose weight, like a good amount of weight, I'm allowed to eat like 2,600 calories and still lose weight. My wife hates me for that reason.
You're on a diet?
No, I'm not on a diet. I've done it before in the past though. Gotcha. And so yeah, I'm allowed to eat. If I want to maintain my weight, I can eat like 3,000 calories a day. Which is it's a good bit actually.
Yeah, that is good. Hey, guess what number 7 is?
I don't know.
This one's a classic. They have a sandwich called Moons Over My Hammy.
I don't know.
And it was delicious growing up. Give me a shout out for Denny's, somebody. Who would have thought Denny's was on the list?
Get slammed!
Get slammed, grand slam. And then the last one is the first one you mentioned, Chili's.
Chili's.
Now, if you go to Chili's and you
like
get the
Chili's.
queso's legit. Their chips, delicious.
Listen, great lunchtime menu. The 3 for whatever, the 2 for whatever.
There you go, guys.
Super cheap.
Right here with Corey.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you one thing right now. You listen to me. Look me in the eyes and listen to me. You go to Chili's. They have a chicken sandwich there. That if you like Chick-fil-A sandwiches,
The breaded
whatever,
chicken,
yeah, it's
the hot and
breaded
spicy
chicken.
sweet one.
It's on the lunch menu, but yeah, you can get like different sauces you can put on it. It is ginormous. It is the biggest chicken sandwich I've ever seen in my life.
The chicken fried steak at Chili's is the biggest I've ever seen. I don't order it, but I've seen somebody order it.
Go get the
You
chicken
can feed a
sandwich.
family. Let me tell you this. So Chick-fil-A is fast food. It's not considered top rated. It's not considered casual dining. They would have been number 3 on this list with their score.
I know.
Chick-fil-A would have been right underneath of Olive Garden.
Listen, they're legit. They take care of you, Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, it's good food. I mean, if Chick-fil-A was a sit-down restaurant, people would love it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They need to make one.
Let me ask you this. So that's the list, but let me ask you this. If you and Lauren found out
Oh, boy.
through the grapevine, you have 2 beautiful children. You've been married for 12 years, 14.
Been married 14 years.
14 years. And this beautiful woman that is your wife, if you were sitting down and you both did a genetics testing for Christmas to find out where you were from, and you opened up the envelopes in anticipation, and as you opened them up, you saw that you were from the same region.
Uh-oh.
But then you did an Ancestry.com search.
I think I know where this
and
is
found out
going.
that you both had the same great grandmother.
Whoops. Yeah.
Would you leave her?
Yeah. No. At that point, that's so. Yeah. Whatever. What's a little incest?
Well, with that, welcome to 2024. It happens to be. It's so there's a commercial just came on about this, and it was people getting genetic testing, and it said when you find out you're related, and it was a husband and wife, and they looked at each other, and I forget what it was advertising, but they were like eating a snack. Oh, maybe it was that company that delivers fruit.
Edible arrangement.
And so it showed them like eating an edible, and I was like, that would not fix it for me. So I asked Casey. I said, what would you do if you found out we were related?
Yeah.
Call me. I call you like sis. Or what would you do? And she said, sorry, I'm dying here today, people.
Yeah.
She said it would depend on how close we were related.
Yeah.
She goes, at this point, we're 4 kids in, and she's like, I love you.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, but could it that fast?
Damage is done at that
Could
point.
it that fast be like, I loved him? But like he's my second cousin, and it just I can't even look at it because that's all it would take.
That's technically legal, though.
I'm not worried about legality.
I think at second, that's where it's.
I think the fact we have 4 kids at this point, you're like,
Yeah.
you know. But the commercial itself, I was laughing so hard when I saw it. I was like, and they just ate some edibles. I guess it wasn't that big of a deal. You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
it'd be different if you're like, wait, your aunt
yeah.
is what's her name?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you're talking great, you're like, all right.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we all get confused at that point. But yeah, if you're like, oh shoot, I didn't know you were my second cousin, that's maybe a little too close.
Yeah, you wouldn't
I'm
leave her.
also
You wouldn't
really-
leave her. Good to know.
I'm also really confused at how that works anyway.
I wouldn't leave her either. I wouldn't leave my wife, even if I was her cousin at this point. I've had 4 kids.
Yeah. Sorry, babe, you're stuck with me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously we know it's not ever going to happen. That's not reality. That you would be that closely related. You would know by now.
Maybe.
Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, there was Casey's grandfather was an orphan. So we thought he was like Cuban, but it turned out he was Spanish, like Spaniard.
Yeah.
And so we didn't know where he was from. And so he was found on the doorstep in West Virginia. My whole mom's family's from West Virginia.
Jeez.
So, it was touch and go for a while. We weren't really sure what was going to happen with our marriage.
Doorstep baby, huh?
We weren't really sure what was happening with our marriage. It could have been all over. He could have been, but we're good to go.
Oh, goodness.
We were all from the same state. It got weird.
Never know what we're going to talk about on this podcast.
Well, I'm thinking that everybody listening right now, it's like, yeah, so true.
I should probably do a DNA
everybody for 2024 to start off, do a DNA test with your wife. Make sure you're not married or related, or your husband.
Yeah.
Make sure you guys aren't too closely related. I mean, it's a good way to start the year.
Have you seen that documentary where the doctor who like kind of like impregnates people? It's a whole documentary. He was like using his own stuff on these women, and in this like small town, come to find out all of these people were related to one another that didn't realize they were related to one another, and that was the fear.
Was he dead at the time? Did he die?
No,
He was still alive.
Yeah, he was still alive. He got in trouble.
Well,
the fear was you had a bunch of married couples that are like, oh goodness, we could be like half siblings.
Oh,
yeah. I can't remember the documentary if any.
You
of
don't
them
realize
were.
when you're doing that as a doctor. Well, I'm not taking up for the guy.
No,
but I'm saying you don't realize when you're doing something that dark, what it could actually mean in 100 years.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
30 years.
You in a small town, like all these babies that are being born are your offspring, and they're like it was crazy, man. It was really twisted. But then you're telling these people that it was actually the father. This is the father. This is the father, but they really weren't. Like, phew, it's a crazy documentary.
Wow.
Yeah. He got in trouble.
You think? Creating a bunch of children.
But the reason no one ever would have known unless these like Ancestry.com, Google has a DNA test. These people started doing these DNA tests and they started finding out like, oh, I'm related to this person. How am I like, and then it all
You're like, you're their
out.
brother.
Yeah. So you had this doctor guy who's thinking like how will they ever know? They'll never know. And then, well, sure enough, anyone can get their DNA tested and whoops.
Wow.
Maybe just like don't get your DNA tested.
Yeah, you know what? Now that I think about it,
we don't need to know.
This isn't a big issue for us. Let's just move on.
Yeah,
move on in 2024. Love your spouse and know that they are not even close to being a distant relative.
Put some blinders on this year.
Yeah. Be ignorant to anything that could possibly harm you. That's what I think. You know what we need to ditch? There's a self-destructive habit in 2024 we need to ditch.
Okay.
Simon Sinek. I read this saying.
Oh, yeah.
It's very good. And what he says is, he said to ditch comparison this year. I think it's powerful.
Absolutely.
And he says, all it does is exaggerate all of our insecurities. It's okay to enjoy other people's successes, but you let them live their lives and you live your life. Let's be honest. Let's take a poll. How many of you are so excited whenever that thing you've been trying to accomplish is accomplished by a peer? How many of you are so excited for them whenever you're trying to get out of debt and yet they are, and they're paying cash for everything that you want to buy?
Love it.
How do you feel whenever your family is falling apart and theirs is not? Do you love it?
I'm so thrilled.
No, we don't. Come on. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? Why? 88% of women and 65% of men compare themselves to images they see in the media. 9 out of 10. Now, this is the part that we really got to stop as adults, especially. But 9 out of 10, 16 to 24-year-olds view themselves negatively and feel dissatisfied with their lives.
Boo.
3 and 4 want to change their bodies, and 1 in 7 have had thoughts of ending their lives as a result of comparing themselves with others on social media platforms. So he says, grow your strengths instead of being intimidated by the strengths of others. But I think what we do is you keep backtracking and you see how deep is this? Because we look at it as, oh, I wish I had that. Or, people say something, oh, I covet your house, or I covet your dog, or I covet your family, or I, whatever.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a sincere mention of something to say, I like what you're doing with your life.
Yeah.
But when you really want what somebody else has and you don't have it, these children... Our kids are on social media, and I heard it said, we compare ourselves to what we see on social media, which isn't even the reality of somebody else's life.
Yeah.
So you're doing these things on social media, and our kids are wanting to take their lives over it. Like, that's a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
So this thing went south fast.
Yeah.
And so when we think about comparison, I always say when Satan knows you're discouraged, he doesn't need to use anything else in his tool belt.
It's good.
But, I mean... in 2024, what would your life look like? How different would it look if you didn't allow comparison to be something that you were always harnessing?
Yeah.
Always trying to figure out, It's if you think about the times in your life you're discouraged, I would venture to say the majority of them. This is what I would say. If you have 10 nights where you're discouraged, I would venture to say that all of them, I would make the assumption, all of them, at some point you're comparing.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Every single one of those 10 nights.
Yeah.
The thing about social media, the reason we do this podcast is, the reason we started it is because we wanted to add value to people's lives. Jesus, culture, sports. Like we wanted to, like we're Christians, we love God. And we wanted to bring people in on like, what does it look like to love God and just be a part of the world and actually enjoy the things around you and be healthy? Like it isn't just a podcast on how to do leadership and how to be a Christian and how to, it's Christians doing a podcast, right?
Yeah.
People that love Jesus, but we understand things around us and we have the wisdom of God, but we also understand that the world exists. It's a real place. And like, we're not better than it. We're not smarter than it. We have God who is, but we're not above anything or anybody. And I think people need that perspective. Especially like we're pastors, like, I have theological training, but when it comes to living for Jesus, you don't need theological training. You just need to be in love with him and love people, right? When you read articles like this, you realize that everybody has the same problem. Nobody feels good enough.
Yeah.
In life, if we're being honest, right?
Mm-hmm.
None of us feel good enough.
Yeah.
It's sad because our kids are starting out. I remember childhood, there was an innocence to it. And like when you went home, even if you were being bullied in school, kids weren't calling your phone. If somebody called you at home as a kid growing up in the 90s or early 2000s, it was special. Oh, yeah. You know, call waiting. Did you hear a beep? Did you hear a beep? You should have, did you hear a beep? I'm not going to have to worry about that with my boys. They all, they have their own phones. And like if somebody calls, I'll never know if somebody calls the house.
Yeah.
Because they don't have a house phone.
Yeah.
Do you have a house phone?
Nope.
I mean, who does?
Yeah.
Unless you got to deal with your package that had your phone, cable, and internet, right? But nobody has a phone that I know of. And it's one of those things where things have changed so much that kids can't get away from it. But social media, it's sad that it gets to this, But that leads me to the next thing. There was an article I read, and it said Americans are lonely, and it's killing them. That was the title of the article on USA Today. And it said loneliness occurs when connections, when the connections a person needs in life are greater than the connections that they have.
Yeah.
And it says most of us probably think that loneliness is just most of us probably think of loneliness as just a bad feeling. But it turns out that loneliness has far greater implications for our health when we struggle with a sense of social disconnection, be it lonely or isolated. And then it goes on and said, social media has accelerated loneliness. As research shows, feeling lonely is more common among heavy users of these sites, of social media sites.
Yeah.
It says, although likes and followers may make a person feel good at the moment, they don't foster genuine connectedness with other people.
Yeah.
And then it says loneliness can trigger stress hormones, which causes inflammation and dysregulates the bodily functions. It says feeling lonely could also cause people to adopt unhealthy lifestyle behaviors like a poor diet, smoking, and substance abuse. It says we can't take on a lot of these challenges alone. We need to be together. We need to be connected. And that's what strengthening the social fabric in our lives and communities is all about.
Yeah.
I mean, these are where people are at. I think you're listening to this, and many of you are probably thinking you're the only one who feels lonely today. You're the only one who feels like you can't get ahead. You're the only one who feels like your life is unraveling.
Yeah.
You're the only one who feels like things just don't make sense. You're the only one who feels like you're depressed after Christmas. You're the only one who feels like you were depressed during Christmas. You're the only one who feels anxious and you can't figure out why. You're the only one who just can't put it all together. Listen, you are not the only one. Loneliness is something that we choose to sit in a moment of being alone.
Yeah.
This is why the power of the local church is so great. When I go through stages where I feel depression coming on, the worst thing for me, sometimes I just need to watch a movie and be alone. That's the worst thing for me.
Yeah.
The best thing for me is to be around people.
Yeah.
To tell my wife, hey, I'm feeling heavy, right? To make yourself go out. You may not want to do it, but that's what kids do. When kids throw temper tantrums, they want to be alone and left alone.
Yeah.
Adults, we don't get that right. We have to push forward and push through. And I understand there's value in alone time and refreshing. I get that.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm saying. But it broke my heart reading this, that people are struggling with loneliness. That's a part of it. It just breaks my heart because, especially if you're listening to this podcast, like you're not alone. Let us know. Let us know. Write in. Tell us what you need. Tell us how we can support you. We'll connect you, whether it's a church or a place. But I'm telling you this, there's no greater place for humanity than the local church. That's why Jesus created it. It's the greatest form of community. We're launching a campus in Oakland, Maryland in March, and I was just talking to Paula, who's one of my good friends growing up, and she's up there in Oakland, and they're excited for this campus. And for me, I was telling Paula, we haven't seen each other in like 20 years. We were bus stop together growing up. And it's like you don't miss a beat because there's something special about childhood friends that you don't. It's not that you don't get friendships in life like that, but there's something special about people that have known you so long.
Yeah.
And you feel a connectedness to people like that because they knew you at a time you don't have to explain things. They knew the culture. They knew what you looked like and acted like. There's just a connectedness.
Yeah.
Well, that's true with the local church in every relationship you make, because when you're connected by God, there is a connectedness to something deeper. A lot of people, you'll hear them say, man, I'm closer to my church family than my own family. Well, that's not because it's a cult. It's because your church family gets you. You're not arguing about the same things. It's sure you have disagreements, but there's a connectedness. There's a common solidarity that comes along with that. So, 2024, don't let it be a year where you're lonely, and you can control this. Get involved in your local church. Get locked into community. I'm telling you, it is the hope of the world. I'm not just saying this because I have to, because I don't have to. I'm saying it because I have sat on New Year's Eve of every year since I've started pastoring, and I ask myself the question, what would I rather do with my life? And this year I watched the New Year's Eve special out of Nashville. It was so good. I love, because we like country, but it was just so good. And I was thinking, man, it'd be so cool to be a country artist and or a music artist, and you just get to do your thing and blah, blah. But then I'm like, yeah, you got tour dates, and then eventually you feel like a clog in the wheel. You feel like you're just a money machine, and you got to get back to the creation of the music, or else you'll die as an artist. Yeah. And I feel like there's nothing I'd rather do, because I feel the same way. Sometimes picking up my Bible as a pastor, I feel like I'm working, and that's when I have to break that and know, no, this is me and God. It's not my job. Mm-hmm. I have that because I study. I mean, I'm in the Word 20 hours a week. This week, I have to write multiple messages. We have a leadership night tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's constant cultivating foundations out of this amazing, beautiful book that's alive. Mm. But that beautiful book that's alive, that's life-giving, every time I pick it up, sometimes just feels like work, and it's heavy.
Yeah.
And I have to connect to the why. I have to connect to why did I ever start doing this? It's because of Jesus, and I know that he is everything that he says he is, and I've seen him release those things in my life, and I see what he's doing. Mm-hmm. But I have to get connected to that, because it's easy for me to not feel like that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I think for every one of us, that loneliness is you get such in a pattern, you forget why you're passionate. You forget what you're passionate about. And we live vicariously through our kids. I coach travel ball, and so we had a party this last week, and a lot of parents, man, I cannot wait to start back up. Can't wait to start back up. And I love it. I can wait, but I love it. I do. I look forward to hanging out with the kids. I look forward to the ball. I love it. But why do the parents like that? They love watching their kids, but I can tell you the number one reason the kids on my team's parents say that. They love being with each other.
Yeah.
We had a big throwdown at my house. We had a great time. I mean, the other day we had a staff party at our house. Mm-hmm. It was a 2-hour party turned into 7 hours. Yeah. Why? Because we just love being around each other. Mm-hmm. That is why we do what we do.
Yeah.
Right? It's community. At the end of the day, it's relationships. Mm-hmm. Period.
Yeah.
And so, man, my heart breaks for all you that are going through it. And really every person that exists, I just love people so much. And the thought of people just being lonely, it breaks my heart, because I don't like people feeling like they're sitting on their couch alone at home and they just don't have anybody, because that's not the gospel.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think as an encouragement, sometimes, because you and I, we've been to those places, and sometimes still find ourselves in those places. I think everything in your brain in that moment is telling you, man, I just wish I had somebody who could reach out. Man, I just wish somebody, for some reason we take the response of, well, I'm just going to sit back and do nothing. And I think as an encouragement is we also have to be disciplined enough to be instigators of community, knowing that when you get into those places, your natural reaction is going to be, I don't want to hang out with anybody. I want to be a recluse. But at the same time, in the back of our head, we're like, man, I really wish someone would reach out to me. My encouragement would be recognize that pattern of thinking and reach out.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have people that care about you. You have people that love you. You have people that honestly might not even know you that well, but through a real conversation of just I'm lonely. I mean, psychology would tell us that you want to create an instant connection with someone pretty quickly. Open up your life a little bit. You open yourself up and you create a vulnerability with that person. That person's more apt to become a really close friend through the process of doing that, but it does require an action on our part, and that is reaching out.
We
That
know
is creating vulnerability with somebody, and that could be a person that's already a close friend, or maybe you're in a situation where you moved, or you're in a new place, or you're moving from a set of friends to maybe potentially a new set of friends, and we have seasons of life where that happens, but it takes that little step of courage, that little step of I'm going to be vulnerable with a group of people, and be smart with who you pick. We all want to have make wise decisions on who that circle of friends is. But that I found that kind of in those states of loneliness, depression, anxiety, whatever it is, where you're like, what I need to do is reach out. What I need to do is create that vulnerability with somebody, because then all of a sudden I realize I'm not alone. Because if I go out and I reach out to somebody, my hope would be this, and I've seen it in my life, where I'm like, man, I'm experiencing this. What I realize is that person, yeah, man, I've been there, or I'm also there right now. It creates I'm not alone. And that happens by reaching out. So my encouragement would be, yeah, reach out to somebody. Because I don't want there to be a negative connotation about why I had to reach out, because that is a divisive thing. I feel like the enemy puts in your brain. We're like, well, no one reached out to me. And that becomes a very you didn't care. You didn't care. No, people care. It's just they have their own lives too.
Well, they don't know what's going on.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They don't know the depths that you're going to when you're sitting alone on your couch having these seriously negative thoughts.
It's true.
So reach out. And I think that would be,
It's a good point.
yeah, be proactive in reaching out to people in those seasons in your life.
Yeah, when I preach, when I have the opportunity to preach at any church, it's a one-sided conversation. I want people to talk back, but when you're a public speaker, you're giving information what people are retaining, right? Mm-hmm. That's your hope, is that you're giving information they're going to retain. And that's why public speaking is difficult, because it's not a conversation. Yeah. It's a one-way thing. And some people may like just having a conversation by themselves. They can talk 45 minutes straight without anybody interrupting. But that's why public speaking is difficult, because it's not a conversation. Yeah. And what I've learned is that the messages that have been the most impactful over years that I've heard more about, knowing what you're preaching theologically, knowing the atmosphere, the culture, the dynamics, the time period, why they did what they did, the history, the geography, all those things are important. But the messages that have made the greatest impact are continually the ones where I feel the most vulnerable preaching them. Mm. Yeah. Yeah. And that's something that's the biggest challenge for me, because there's never a time where I go to preach that I feel like, okay, I'm not as vulnerable today, I just need to preach this. You have to talk, and there's this mental place of how real am I being? Am I really sharing? Because, there's a difference between sharing with people and bleeding on people. Yes. Yeah. And that's not a part for me that I struggle with, because bleeding on people is a byproduct of being hurt. Yeah. And I'm sure there's times we've all done it, for sure. Mm-hmm. Positive that I have. But that's not really a tension for me. Now am I preaching at them to get them to understand this? Or is this message being poured out of my spirit to where it's going to run throughout this room and online, and people are going to be like, wow, that changes things.
It's a difference in preaching at and sharing with.
Yes. Yeah. My goal isn't for them to retain the message. It's for them to be life changed by the message. Yeah. And that's got to come from a place of not experience, but of brokenness. Yes. And I realize brokenness isn't a sign of weakness. Brokenness is a sign of humility, saying God is the strength in my weakness. And there's a big difference. Yeah. And that's what I've had to learn over the years. That's good. You know what I mean? So final thought.
Here's my final thoughts.
Thank you, John. Everyone is a journalist these days, because we all have cell phones. So some of the things you see, whether it's planes crashing or catching on fire, or godforsaken terrorist attacks, or funny moments with babies, or bringing in the new year, from the worst to the best, it's caught on cell phone. And a lot of the footage is pretty decent because the quality of the cameras are pretty good. So what has happened is that these companies are geniuses, and they made us all journalists so that we get better coverage on everything. But because of that, it creates a level of anxiety in people that we didn't used to have, because we see too much.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that things are happening, but it's different to hear about something happening. Everything that happens, we have video of it, right? Everything that happens, there's evidence somewhere that it took place.
Yeah.
On a video. Even watching a football game, there is not a shoelace untied we can't find on a clip of a football game. They have every area of that field covered. I think it creates a level in all of us that we're a little bit more anxious, but I also think that it creates fear. It creates a fear in all of us that we don't oftentimes recognize. We think it's because we're mentally weak. I mean, everybody has anxiety now, right? The whole world struggles with anxiety because it's a term that we've used. Whereas back in the day, it was just, you're human, you go through emotions. Now everybody has mental conditions.
Yeah.
I'm not saying but we we have a hypersensitivity to everything now.
Yeah.
And I think a part of that's because we record everything, because we see everything, we hear about everything. Back in the day, it took years for news to get to a place, or days.
Yeah.
Now we get it instant, right?
Yeah.
So there was a verse that I want to encourage you to, Isaiah 41:10. It says, "Don't be afraid, for I am with you. Don't be discouraged, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will hold you up with my victorious right hand." Victorious. God never loses, and neither do his people. And I'm praying this for you for 2024. So excited and anticipating all that God has for your life. Believe in it. He believes in you, whether or not you believe in him. Let me pray for you. Lord, I just pray for each and every listener. Pray that they would know you're with them. Your hand is on them. You love them. You'll never leave them. And that you see in their life what they can be, bigger than anything they can even think, ask, or imagine. And what you have for 2024 is greater and beyond. And we believe you and thank you for it in Jesus' name. Everybody said, amen. Love you guys. Great first one of 2024. Can't wait to be with you. We'll see you next week.